sometimes it's hard to hear.
Oh, her eyes were moist too.
When she said, "I'm sorry, I love you," yeah, we literally thought they had a turning point in St. Thomas. Like by the time we got back, things were very different. Than the energy, Destiny had by the time we got back was different than what we thought we saw while we were there.
Everything seemed calm, almost too calm. The room was filled with soft music, polite laughter, and carefully crafted smiles. People sipped their drinks, acted like everything was perfect, and tried to ignore the silent tension that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. Kimmi sat comfortably, relaxed, and confident, dressed in grace as always. She believed she had control. She believed the whispers would never turn into thunder. But Martell wasn't smiling. He wasn't laughing.
I just hate that this narrative is going around and, bloggers picking things up and, certain people trying to destroy me. But it's not going to happen, though. I'm not going to allow it to happen.
He was studying, observing, calculating, because tonight, he wasn't just here to talk, he was here to expose. You know those moments where everyone looks happy on the outside, but deep down, something feels off? That was tonight. And while Kimmi moved from one conversation to another, greeting everyone like the perfect peacemaker she was known to be, Martell was silent, calm but cold. He wasn't angry, he wasn't loud, he was ready. Because after weeks of holding back, collecting proof, and piecing everything together, he had reached a point of no return. He knew what he had. He knew what she had done.
I told you before we started, we can't keep doing reunions without seeing all these wonderful behind the scenes, all these wonderful confessional comments that are made, because some of those need to be addressed. And some stuff, when we do the reunion early, we haven't seen half the stuff. People will see these clips and be like, "Oh, they gonna eat Kimmi up at the reunion." No, they not, because we didn't even know they said it, girl. No, they not. We need to be able to see all the stuff that people got to say when they're not in your face. We really do. We really do. And it's not going to help what you're talking about. It's not going to help build a relationship.
And he knew very well that tonight would change everything. What nobody expected was, Martell wasn't just going to talk about it, he was going to show it. But let's rewind for a moment. Before the tension, before the shock, before the truth twisted everything around.
But I think some of the stuff needs to be addressed. All that extra behind the scene talking with your friends and all that, and you can't say it to a person. Yeah, that's you need to say it to them.
Kimmi had always been the one people respected. She was classy, calm, and always seemed like the most honest voice in the room. She built relationships carefully, one genuine moment at a time. When others fought, Kimmi smiled. When others argued, she solved things. She became the one people trusted, the one who kept secrets but never exposed. At least, that's what people thought. Martell trusted her too. He believed she was real. He believed she was the one person who stood away from the messy drama. But sometimes, the prettiest picture hides the biggest cracks. And sometimes, silence is not peace, it's strategy.
It's not a ledge, Carlos, not a ledge. Martell is what the f?
No, but Martell, explain
guys,
to them.
I'm not.
And,
If I was, I would make it. I wouldn't be hiding that shit.
Explain to them how Tisha lied. Why did you get so upset?
About what?
The stuff that they didn't air. What Martha was saying.
Oh.
Not about the stuff.
Oh.
What did Tisha say?
About Melody?
What did she say?
I guess if you guys watch the show, so Tisha also mentioned that certain things were edited out. Yeah, a lot of things was edited out.
The most of it
I only want to mention.
But it was mostly edited about me, Martell. What he was saying about me, that was edited out.
Yeah, that's what I was mad, because Marceau was saying a lot of different things about Ariane or whatever. Something that's not true. So the thing is, when stuff is true, you bring
receipts.
You bring the evidence for it, which I did, and I can do it about every week.
Behind the cameras, behind the polished smiles, behind the family gatherings and friendly dinners, something deeper was happening. Kimmi had been involved in conversations. She had been giving opinions, sharing information, making moves. But the difference was she kept denying it. She didn't just stay quiet, she convinced everyone she had nothing to do with it. That was the real problem. Because when someone lies, people may forgive. But when they pretend they are the only honest one while everyone else looks guilty, that's when trust breaks. Martell started noticing small things first. Sentences that didn't match, reactions that felt too planned, apologies that sounded rehearsed. He didn't want to believe it at first. Nobody ever does. But then, one day, something shook everything. He received a message, then another, then screenshots, audio clips, words he never expected to hear from someone he thought was genuine, words that didn't just talk about him, but tore apart his name, his decisions, and his family. That's when it became personal. He waited, he watched, he gathered proof. He didn't rush to confront her because Martell wasn't looking for a fight. He was looking for clarity. But the more he looked, the more he discovered. Kimmi wasn't as innocent as she seemed. And now, we're back at tonight, the night everything fell apart. The conversations were flowing, cameras were rolling, Kimmi was smiling, but Martell, he finally spoke. He didn't start with anger, he didn't start with blaming, he simply asked a question. Do secrets really stay buried forever? The room paused, heads turned. For just 1 second, Kimmi's smile slipped. She laughed lightly, pretending she wasn't bothered. But Martell never broke eye contact. His calmness was louder than any scream. Then he said it. You acted like you were the only honest one, but you forgot. Receipts don't lie. The energy shifted instantly. People leaned closer. Kimmi looked confused but nervous. She tried to control the moment like she always did, but this time, the moment wasn't hers. Martell slowly took out his phone. He tapped the screen, held it up, and let the silence do the talking. Screenshots, text messages, conversations. Not rumors, not opinions. Proof. Real, undeniable proof. Kimmi's face changed. Her body froze, but her eyes said everything: fear, panic, disbelief. She tried to speak, but no words were strong enough to fight what was staring back at her. The screenshots weren't just casual messages. They revealed how Kimmi had been involved, how she had stirred things quietly, influenced situations, shared things she claimed she had nothing to do with. She wasn't just a bystander. She was playing the game too. The room was silent. No one laughed. No one moved. And Martell? He wasn't even angry. He just said, "You didn't just lie to me. You lied to all of us." Kimmi tried to explain, it wasn't what it looks like. But the problem was, it looked exactly like the truth. The deeper Martell scrolled, the more exposed it became. Messages where Kimmi used calm words, soft influence, little comments that changed how people viewed others. She wasn't messy, she was careful, and that made it worse. People started whispering. She said she stayed out of it. She swore she had nothing to do with it. But she was involved the whole time? Kimmi looked around, searching for someone to defend her, someone to say she was still the honest one. But tonight, the room she walked into with confidence now felt like a courtroom, and everyone had turned into silent judges. Martell looked at her, not with anger, but with something heavier. Disappointment. That hurt more than any shouting. What made it even more heartbreaking was that Kimmi didn't do it for fame. She didn't do it for money, or power, or cameras. She did it because she wanted control. She wanted to be seen as the one person untouched by drama. But instead, she became the center of it. She didn't know that silence can sometimes be louder than chaos, and when the truth comes out, it does not knock gently. It explodes. Martell didn't just show the messages, he showed how her actions had affected real people, how friendships fell apart, how trust crumbled. People who once called her a safe space now realized she had also been keeping score, making moves, and hiding her part in it. But here's the twist. Martell wasn't exposing her to embarrass her. He wasn't looking for revenge. He wanted honesty. He wanted to clear the air, once and for all. And as he said, when you pretend to be the only truthful one while you hide your own truth, that's betrayal. Kimmi stayed silent. Her eyes were full, not of anger, not of denial, but of understanding. Because the hardest part wasn't being exposed. It was realizing that she had built a reputation on honesty while hiding pieces of the truth. Later, the emotional impact began settling in. The group didn't see Kimmi the same way anymore. People kept their distance. Trust didn't break quietly. It shattered loudly. Kimmi's world didn't crumble because she made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It fell apart because she denied until the proof spoke louder than her words. Martell walked away, not with pride, not with victory, but with relief. He didn't want destruction, he wanted truth, and he finally had it. And Kimmi? She didn't try to defend herself anymore. The truth was too clear. She was not perfect. She was not the only honest one. She was human, flawed, real. And maybe if she had admitted that earlier, things would have been different. Because sometimes pretending to be perfect is the biggest lie of all. So what happens next? Does Kimmi try to rebuild? Does she apologize publicly? Does she explain her side? Does she fight for redemption? Or does she stay silent now that the truth has finally spoken for her? Martell, on the other hand, made one final statement, calm, steady, and unforgettable. I don't expose people, I expose lies. And with that, he walked away, leaving everyone with a question. Is Kimmi really the villain, or is she just someone who was too afraid to be imperfect? Sometimes, the truth doesn't destroy you. It frees you. But only if you're brave enough to face it. And that's where everything changed. After all the whispers, all the screenshots, all the silent looks filled with judgment, there was a moment of truth. Not from Martell, not from the people in that room, but from Kimmi herself. Because sometimes the hardest truth isn't the one someone else exposes, it's the one you finally admit to yourself. She realized that lies don't always come in loud words. Sometimes they hide in silence, in what you choose not to say, in the image you protect even when it's not real. And when that image breaks, it doesn't just crack, it shatters everything around it. Martell didn't expose her to ruin her. He exposed her to free her from the weight of pretending. It wasn't about humiliation. It was about honesty. Real, raw, uncomfortable honesty. The kind that hurts but heals. The kind that breaks but rebuilds. Now the real question is, what happens next? Does Kimmi fight back? Does she deny again? Or does she finally stand up, look everyone in the eye and say, yes, I made mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I'm willing to be real now. Because sometimes redemption doesn't come from defending yourself. It comes from owning your truth. So, do you think this was betrayal or a wake-up call? Was Martell being cruel, or was he finally being honest in a world full of silence and secrets? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Because this story, oh, it's not over. It's just beginning.